1,000 miles away in the Yaik River region, Pugachev's peasant army storms the imperial fortress at Ilyinsk. A victory over the fortress wins the rebellion recruits and weapons. Oppressed soldiers join the angry peasants who flock to the banner of the man who claims to be the rightful emperor, Tsar Peter III. The rebellion spreads like wildfire through settlements and cities all along the Yaik Valley. But news of the revolt takes weeks to travel 1,000 miles across the Russian Empire. More than a month passes before the first dispatch reaches St. Petersburg and the Empress. Suddenly, on top of a war with Turkey, a power-hungry son and a feckless lover, Catherine has a new trial on her hands. A struggle for the soul of Russia, a battle with a ghost, a Cossack who claims to be her murdered husband, the undead emperor, Peter III. 1773. Emelian Pugachev, the resurrected Tsar Peter III, publishes a manifesto. He has come to bring the peasants land and liberty, to set the serfs free. They are words the people have longed to hear for generations. A Russian revolution has begun. Pugachev's forces swell from a small band into a peasant army of thousands. And they easily overwhelm unsuspecting towns across the countryside. From his makeshift throne, Pugachev doles out harsh punishments to captured landlords and nobles. What began as a peasant revolt spirals into a terrifying circus of slaughter. Pugachev even commissions a royal portrait, painted on top of a picture of the Empress Catherine, leaving her eyes exposed to further the insult. The Empress cannot afford to let the cancer spread. Imperial soldiers chased Pugachev through the winter. With her army tied down by the Turkish war, Catherine can send only smaller forces to control the frontier. Even when her troops manage to tame the revolt in one spot, Pugachev's forces strike in a new corner of the empire. Unable to capture Pugachev himself, Catherine's forces devise a new strategy. They hunt down Pugachev's estranged wife and children and parade them through rebel lands as living proof that the Cossack is not Peter III. But her propaganda and her army fail to stop the insurgency. The growing momentum of Pugachev's rebellion leaves Catherine at a loss. One of the largest settlements on the Volga River, Kazan marks the gateway between the unruly Russian frontier and the densely populated heartland of Russia. From this outpost of civilization, Catherine's forces planned to mount their defense. The only safe haven from the terror is a fortress in the center of town, Kazan's central citadel. The fortress is Pugachev's real prize, an army garrison rich with guns and ammunition. If the citadel falls, the path to Moscow will lie wide open. For Pugachev, the Cossack who would be emperor, Kazan is the first stop on the road to the Russian throne.
They didn't realize its size. They underestimated Pugachev's strategies, his versatility, and sort of wily character as a military tactician. They grossly underestimated him.
For 2 days, Pugachev's forces terrorized the city. They failed to win the prize, Kazan's central fortress. From inside, Catherine's forces fire back, slaughtering them by the thousands. Pugachev's forces leave Kazan in disarray. Pugachev had once commanded an army of 30,000 rebels. After 10 months of violence, his revolt is finally over. September 1774. The self-proclaimed emperor of the Cossacks, Emelian Pugachev, is on the run. For nearly a year, he claimed to be the murdered Tsar Peter III. He'd built a massive peasant army and led the greatest rebellion Russia had ever seen. But now, the Empress Catherine's forces are closing in on the fugitive Cossack. And they aren't the only ones. Pugachev's own people are tempted by a royal bounty on his head. They turn on their leader and hunt him down like an animal. Pugachev is captured by the Cossacks he'd hoped to lead to power. On September 15th, 1 year after the rebellion first erupted, Cossacks hand over the rebel leader. Pugachev is delivered to imperial authorities at the heart of the Yaik River region, the breeding grounds for his revolt. Instead of marching to Moscow at the head of a rebel army, Pugachev is hauled to the Kremlin in a cage. The would-be emperor ends up a prisoner of the empire. His fate lies ahead at the chopping block. Out in the countryside, landlords unleash vigilante justice, killing serfs who supported the revolt. Catherine deplores the violence, but the humanitarian empress can't bring herself to free Russia's slaves. Emancipating the serfs would bankrupt every noble family in Russia and almost certainly cost Catherine the throne. Instead of freeing the serfs, Catherine seeks to heal Russia's divide by declaring forgiveness for all peasants who took up arms in the revolt. Across the countryside, messengers post her proclamation of amnesty, an order to end vigilante justice and forgive peasants who joined the rebellion. But for one rebel, there can be no amnesty. Moscow, January 14th, 1775. Emelian Pugachev is tried before a special court. His conviction is guaranteed. The sentence for his treason, to be drawn and quartered. The Empress refuses to attend his trial or his execution. She won't set foot in Moscow until the rebel is exterminated. But even for a traitor, Catherine retains a merciful touch.
So she sent orders that he was to be beheaded instantly.
Самозванцу Емельке Пугачеву в силу прописанных гражданских законов учинить смертную казнь, а именно приказать голову часть тела разнести по 4 частям города и положить колеса на тех же местах жить.
Still, mercy only goes so far. Pugachev's dead body will be quartered, burned, and his ashes scattered on the wind. Catherine purges all trace of the rebellion from her land. Pugachev's name becomes sacrilege. She even gives the traitor's hometown a new name, Potemkinskaya, in honor of Potemkin, her partner in power. She rewrites Russia's laws, builds schools in every corner of the land, and continues to grow her empire. By the time she's finished, Russia will span across Europe and Asia and into North America.
She was immensely successful.
She was the German girl who became the most powerful woman in the world, the Empress Catherine the Great.